Thank you. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our third webinar session. My name is Faribor Samadian. I'm the president of Swiss Business Council in Qatar. Many communities in Qatar have signed the MOU with Supreme Committee for Delivery and Legacy in the year 2015. From there onwards, each community leader has been working together to ensure the success of the tournament. By signing the MOU, we got several opportunities to be a part of major milestone events. Also, by attending multiple skill development workshops organized by Supreme Committee, many members gained the more knowledge about the World Cup developments. This continued relationships has really helped in creating a greater confidence in answering most of the queries raised by other members in the community about the World Cup developments. With all this involvement and engagement activities, we certainly feel we are a part of delivering the most amazing FIFA World Cup. Today, for this webinar session, we are honored to have Mr.Nasser Al-Khater, CEO of FIFA World Cup Qatar 2022. A very warm welcome, Mr. Nasser, and thank you for making time to speak with us. This webinar consists of presidents and chairpersons of the business councils and chambers of commerce and their members from America, Australia, New Zealand, Austria, Belgium, Canada, Chile, Croatia, France, Germany, Italy, Netherlands, Philippines, Portugal, Spain, Sweden, Switzerland, Ukraine, and many of our members. As a reminder, and for maintaining optimum audio quality, we will ensure to mute all the attendees. If you experience any technical difficulties during this session, please notify to us in the chat box, and our technical person will assist you immediately. We will be recording this webinar so that we can share it with all the members of the participating councils and newspapers. Without further ado, let me welcome again Mr. Nasser Al-Khater, CEO of FIFA World Cup Qatar 2022. Mr. Nasser, welcome, and the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Sam. Welcome to everybody. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to be part of your webinar and to the forum that you're all part of, that I know has been quite busy in these unprecedented times. And I would like to say that, hopefully we will get a chance very soon to meet in person again. And, for us, and like the rest of the world, here in Qatar and the World Cup projects, there's been a significant effect on how we conduct business. Many of the businesses around the world and here in Qatar have been significantly curtailed in these current times. But we're hoping that everything goes to normal very soon, that we can, resume our life as we remembered it. But until then, we keep hopeful. And I would like to share with you some of the measures that we have put in place to make sure that the World Cup projects continue. Obviously, we had to abide by the government regulations here in the Supreme Committee. We've all become very versed now with Zoom, Microsoft Teams, and other video conferencing tools. We maintained a 20% capacity in the stadium. In terms of the construction sites, we've had to put rigorous training in place for the workers to have social distancing as they work. Progress has been pretty much on track on all the stadiums. The effect, thankfully, of COVID on the stadiums has been minimal. And we're quite lucky to say that, although work has continued, the number of cases of COVID on our construction sites has been quite low. And thankfully, you know, some of these measures were put in place very early on, and we were able to maintain a very low number of cases. So this is something that's very positive. And I think currently we have 25 out of over 28,000 people. We have 25 active cases, but thankfully none of them are serious. Other than that, we've had to think of innovative ways, such as if you've seen, we've launched the Education City Stadium quite recently. We always have a stadium inauguration, whether it's with a friendly match or it's an end of a tournament, whether it's the Emir's Cup. And we had to find a way, because we wanted progress to continue and we didn't want to hold back. We found an innovative way to launch the stadium, as well as, you know, the main theme of this stadium launch was to really give tribute to the frontline workers around the world. And here in Qatar, they've been our heroes for a very long time. The past, let's say, 3 or 4 months, they have been at the forefront, risking their lives, sacrificing their time, sacrificing the health of their family. And really, really, they have been heroes. So that's why we launched a campaign called Champions of Hope. And this was the overall theme of the stadium launch for Education City. Before I continue, maybe it's worth just sharing a quick video with you about the progress of Education City. So I'm sure you're all familiar with Education City. We just wanted to share with you what it currently looks like from inside the bowl and from outside. So other than Education City, I mean, all of you, Education City is a hub. It will be a hub inside Education City. It's going to have 2 schools that are part of the stadium precinct. These schools are obviously going to be used by Qatar Foundation and Education City. We believe that the Education City Stadium will be a hub for all the students and the faculty, and this stadium is one of the stadiums that has real legacy from the very beginning. I mean, the legacy story of the stadium began from the very, very beginning. Now, other than Education City, on the rest of our projects, we have reached about 85% completion of all our construction. 2 stadiums will be launched hopefully by the end of this year, and then we will have 3 by 2021. So Lusail, Thumama, Ras Abu Aboud Stadium, these will be completed in 2021. So we will have at least a year between the beginning of the World Cup and the completion of the stadiums. All our training sites are in place. And in terms of accommodation, many of you know that we're looking at many hotels being completed in Qatar in the current future. We have a multiple of temporary solutions and innovative solutions. So a lot of it will include furnished apartments or hotel apartments, as they call them here as well. We will have an initiative called Host a Fan to make sure that people really have an opportunity to open their homes to accept fans and welcome fans here in Qatar. we believe that also a lot of fans from abroad would welcome that opportunity. We will also have cruise ships that will be in the new Doha port, which is being redeveloped. Currently, the capacity is 4,000, but with the ability to increase the capacity to 8,000. Training sites, accommodation, we've spoken about. I think these are the key things that we need to put in place. And a lot of focus right now is going also in operational planning and the fan experience. So we have a lot of innovative ideas for fan experience to really make sure this World Cup is unique. It will really focus, we really focus on looking at this from the fans' point of view to make sure that they have a holistic experience in terms of transport and getting to the stadiums, being able to watch more than one match a day. We're looking to have a large FIFA Fan Fest at the heart of the city with a lot more activities that are going to be within walking distance from the hotels, the cluster of hotels, whether that's in West Bay or the hotels inside Souq Waqif or near to Souq Waqif. This is where the main cluster of fans will be. For me, I just want to take this opportunity also to thank all of you who I'm sure have been working hard to minimize the difficulties of COVID-19. Many of you are abroad, I know, but like I said earlier, you know, the work that you do is quite important for the stability of the economy. Like I said, also looking forward to seeing you again in the very, very near future. From my side, this is the update that I have for you, Sam. I'll give the floor back to you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nasser. The participants sent questions in the past couple of days. We have agreed that in order to be time efficient, I would pose these questions. If you allow me, I start with the questions. The first question, we all hope that efficient vaccination will be widely available and implemented already in 2021. However, challenges are likely to remain. How will FIFA World Cup Qatar 2022 tackle the COVID-19 challenge in general and on the ground?
Thank you for that question. Obviously, we have a lot of milestones before 2022. So if we look at the end of this year, we're looking at hosting the Club World Cup one more time in Qatar. We are planning, and the operational planning for it is going as it should be. However, we assess the situation on a from a month-to-month basis. Mainly what we're looking at is football going to resume as normal with fans in the stadium? Yes or no? Are flights going to resume as normal? Is Qatar going to be accepting fans at that time? These are all the open questions that we will have. Obviously, we also hope that if it's not a vaccine, that an effective treatment is discovered that makes this something that's as treatable as the flu. And that would also go a long way into making sure that life goes back to normal. Yes, we're starting to do an analysis on ticketing strategy and operations with COVID in mind. To be frank, this is right now we're at the beginning stages of putting these in place, but all of us are hopeful that the World Cup will not be affected like the Olympics has and the Euro 2021 has been affected, or Euro 2020, which has been affected, and now they've moved both of them to 2021.
Right, okay. The next question is, what is the Supreme Committee strategy in case the pandemic continues to spread? How does it affect 2020 and 2021 agenda and events?
I mean, we covered a little bit of it in the last questions. Obviously, we all want this pandemic to disappear and for life to go back to normal. But just like the Club World Cup, we are evaluating it on a month-by-month basis. The planning is going ahead. But obviously, if we see that there is a second wave, if we see that there is no vaccine in sight, or there is no treatment that's going to come in sight, then we have to see this from a very serious point of view, because test events are key for a successful World Cup. Yeah, I mean, that's what we're looking at.
Right. Especially there are a lot of events that we were hoping that is taking place in 2020 and 21. And if we are on the event side, we are all a bit nervous. What is the situation? So, yeah, we all have to wait.
Yeah, I mean, look, businesses we know are the ones that have been affected the most. And obviously events at a time like this are obviously difficult to have. You have no fans. Getting people into the country is very difficult right now, especially with events. You need a lot of technical expertise that need to come from abroad. You can't even have, the fireworks is almost impossible to have right now because you can't bring the people from abroad. All the creative people that need to create content for you are all abroad. So being able to project that on screens or project that on the pitch, in our instance, was extremely difficult. And that's why we had to resort to basically creating a video that, and I'm not sure if you've all seen the video, we can send it to you, but it's a video that gives you a feeling of a stadium being opened. Yep. And that was how we tackled this. But you're right, on the ground, event companies suffer a lot, as hospitality and most industries, to be fair to you, and as long as if you're fabricating something and you're exporting it to abroad, your effect might have been a little bit less, but still, I think everybody's worldwide is affected, every single industry. Maybe not the pharmaceuticals.
Yep. The next question. The official opening for Qatar Foundation Stadium was the first challenge you faced this year due to COVID-19. How would you describe this challenge? I know you said some part of it, but either you would like to add something to it or?
Yeah, I mean, we had a very, I think we had a very interesting opening ceremony planned for the stadium. The creative was all done. We were ready to press go on making sure all the events and ceremonies teams are in place to start. But obviously, because of the situation, we had to resort to another way. We had two choices. It was either delay it to a time that we could have an official opening, but seeing that we had two more stadiums to open by the end of this year, and wanting to really do something for the frontline workers, we felt that was something that we could do. And I think the main driver was to thank the frontline workers.
Mm-hmm. Okay. The next question, what risk assessment was taken for employees and contracted workers' health and safety on every construction site and within every office building to ensure the working environment does not expose employees or visitors to infection?
So we made sure that we reduced the number of people coming into the office to accept the critical employees. That number was supposed to be at a max of 20%. We were fluctuating to between 15 and 20% at the time. So some of the floors in the office had 2 or 3 people, some had 5, some had 7. So there was really a lot of space. There was a lot of disinfection happening in the office, especially on keyboards, on tables, and so forth. Basically, everything was sanitized. We made sure that, everybody had to do their own tea and coffee, that there was no service, to make sure that, we minimize the risk to everybody. From the moment you walk into the office, there is a temperature check, which, I mean, some people can argue the effectiveness of it. Some don't have fevers, some take a few days to develop a fever. But we made sure that everybody wear masks at all times. In terms of the workers, similar things. They had to take breaks for disinfection, sanitization, masks, social distancing. And, the transportation was limited to make sure that there was enough distance between one worker or the other. Anybody who developed a any type of symptom was, we had an agreement with the Ministry of Public Health to make sure that we can get testing for them as quickly as possible, and they were completely segregated from the rest of their colleagues. And then there would be trace testing for the people that have come in contact with him. So these are some of the measures that we put in place.
Okay, good. The next question, what were the steps the stadium contractors followed apart from following the Qatar government guidance and communicating the measures of safety implemented that ensure unstopped delivery of commitment for successful FIFA 2022?
I mean, I think we covered that in the last question, but maybe some additional things that I can say is, you know, there was a lot of sessions that were run for them. There was a lot of education that was done for them. There were continuous sanitization breaks that they had to sanitize. There was regular temperature checks on site as well. These are the additional steps that we took to make sure anybody who had any health risk factor was demobilized, and anybody who was above the age of 55 was also demobilized.
Okay, all right, okay. Well, the number of questions I have received are these ones until last night. And I see, I think our ambassador, His Excellency, Mr. Edgar Doric is here. Am I right? Or because I don't see Mr. Doric? Or maybe he's mute.
Yes, here I am.
Ah, okay. Yes. Well,
Okay.
welcome and thanks for your support. I thought maybe you would like to also talk or be present and talk to Mr. Nasser.
Thank you, Mr. Nasser, for this excellent presentation, for this update. Thanks, of course, to Sam, President of the Swiss Business Council Qatar here, for organizing this interesting meeting. You see, the lockdown has taken tribute on my beard, so I'm looking forward to the 1st of August. But on a more serious note, I have one question that I have asked you when we met a couple of months ago. This is, of course, during this pandemic, it was very difficult to communicate, and it is all the more appreciated that you reach out to us. But I wonder, together with other ambassadors and also, I'm sure, heads of business councils and chambers, how you will start reaching out to us. I do think that we will have a role. I mean, it will be, of course, a bit early still, but 2 years and a little bit more to go, to get some regular updates, to see what the situation is like, and also how we can contribute, how the security situation is evolving, what kind of arrangements you foresee on the consular side, etc., etc. Just I would like to have a bit of your thoughts about timing once we can get to some kind of normalcy, also when we can meet again. That would be appreciated. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Your Excellency. I remember vividly the conversation that we had when you visited us here in the Supreme Committee offices, and we had agreed to put in place a regular updates and to have also welcome some business people from Switzerland. So some of the plans that we put in place is for the communities specifically, and for the which includes obviously the embassies and the Chamber of Commerce, is to have regular visits and tours to the stadiums. We will have a dedicated equipped bus that will give information to tour basically the official sites, and also go down to stadiums and get tours there. So I think it's very important because the involvement of all the communities is going to play a big part in the World Cup. In terms on the business side, we've also agreed with the IR team here to have quarterly sort of town halls, if you want to call them that, where people can share a forum to discuss opportunities and ask specific questions. I think what we discussed last time was more now on the operational side than on the experience side, is where, you know, the Supreme Committee and FIFA will be looking going forward.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Thank you, Mr. Nasser. And also thanks to all the participants. Is the end of the session, and we wish you and everyone in Qatar all the best, and stay safe during these difficult times. Goodbye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Thanks to everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Thank you.